Good day, grade 11, and today we are continuing with Mapwork skills. Again, there's a couple of new words that you would need to understand. Then a nice explanation of aerial photography, then oblique and vertical photographs. So the new words that you need to know is interpretation. That is the process of examining and analyzing the features, patterns, symbols, and spatial relationships shown on a map or aerial photograph. The orthophoto map is an aerial photograph that has been geometrically corrected to remove any distortions and to make it a uniform scale like a regular map. It combines the visual detail of a photo with the accuracy of a map. Recognition elements. The distinct characteristics or clues, for example, like shape, size, tone, texture, pattern, and shadow, that help map readers identify features or objects on an aerial photograph or map. Spatial relationship describes how different geographical features, objects, or phenomena are located and arranged in relation to one another on Earth's surface. Monochromatic is an image or map that is presented in varying shades of a single color, most commonly black and white, or shades of gray. Oblique refers to an aerial photograph taken at an angle. It's not directly straight from above. So it's at an angle, allowing the horizon to be visible. This provides a more natural perspective view compared to a vertical photograph. Urban fringe is the transitional area on the outskirts of a city or town where urban and rural areas mix and often conflict. It's a zone between the build-up urban area and the surrounding rural land. Next is an explanation of aerial photography.
One of the most powerful tools available to geographers for interpreting landscapes is the combination of aerial photographs and orthophoto maps. Analyzing spatial relationships is crucial when deducing insights from these images. This process involves observing the spatial connections and making logical inferences based on them. Visual interpretation of aerial photos and orthophoto maps hinges on our ability to associate colors, shapes, and patterns shown in the images with real-world features. This skill allows us to draw conclusions from what we see. Typically, analyzing and interpreting an image involves two key processes. Direct recognition. This is the ability to instantly identify objects or features based on prior real-world experiences. Logical deduction. This refers to using various clues to arrive at conclusions through a reasoning process, drawing on acquired knowledge and experience. For instance, one might deduce that a rectangular or oval shape situated in a garden near a house is likely a swimming pool. With today's technological advancements, monochromatic aerial photographs and orthophoto maps are being substituted with true color products. While this shift simplifies object recognition significantly, the same principles and processes of interpretation continue to be relevant.
So, time for a question. Which method is used to identify a swimming pool in aerial photos? So which one do you think it is? Is it a logical deduction using shapes and contexts? Is it a direct recognition using color? Or analyzing spatial relationships without reasoning? Which one do you think? And you are correct if you've chosen logical deduction using shapes and contexts. One more question. How should geographers analyze aerial photos and orthophoto maps effectively? Is it to identify spatial relationships and deduce features? Or focus solely on color distinctions in image, or rely on direct recognition for analysis? Which one do you think? And again, it is identify spatial relationships and deduce features, the first options. Great. Now we look at oblique and vertical aerial photographs. So aerial photographs can be classified as either vertical or oblique, with oblique images taken at an angle to the vertical. So these photographs are rich in information, and with a bit of practice you will quickly learn to identify common objects with ease. So you get lower altitude photographs, so here objects appear larger, revealing more detail. So it's taken at a closer altitude from the ground. Your vertical photographs, these provide relatively undistorted overhead views of the landscape, making them essential for analyzing landforms. And then your oblique photographs, these images mimic our perspective when observing the ground from a tall building or through the window of a low-flying airplane. This side view facilitates easier identification of various objects. So your oblique photographs can be further categorized into low oblique and high oblique. So in the image you can see this is how a vertical camera lens, how photos are taken, and then this is your low oblique, and even more at an angle is called your high oblique. So vertical, your map will look like this. When you have a low oblique, this is the angle that you will see, and high oblique, you can see the horizon, and it's at a bigger angle. So your low oblique displaying only the surface, but your high oblique showcasing the surface, horizon, and portion of the sky. Identifying landforms and features. So how can you recognize landforms and geographical features? Both maps and aerial photographs possess distinct characteristics. So maps display landforms and landmarks through symbols that are clarified in a key that you will find on a map. Photographs capture everything visible, providing detailed information that requires systematic extraction. To effectively identify landforms and geographical features, it is essential to use both maps and aerial photographs in conjunction. When analyzing, interpreting, and recognizing objects in a photograph, you focus on 5 key elements: shape and pattern, size, shadows, tone, and texture. So your shape and pattern. Cultural and built objects such as buildings, shopping malls, and roads have regular geometric shapes and distinct boundaries. The shapes of natural features such as rivers, sand dunes, and mountains are irregular and uneven. So for example, if you look at the picture, you can relatively see that this is a very large building, which indicates it could be a shopping mall. And roads, you can see on the map, here is an open field and here is a parking area. The spatial arrangement of objects, whether constructed or natural, reveals their identity through distinct patterns such as radial, grid-like, linear, or parallel formations. Unique land uses like irrigation types or housing styles display recognizable patterns. And here you can see down here is your houses, which is distinct. River configurations can indicate underlying rock types, while systematic layouts like tree plantations differ from the random distribution seen in forests. Then the size, the dimensions of an object or feature also play a crucial role in identifying what it might be. So if you see the difference between a shopping mall and a house, you can clearly see that the house is definitely smaller in size, which indicate this is a house area or an area where there's houses. For instance, while buildings may share a similar shape, variations in size can suggest whether it is a small shack, a house, shopping center, or a factory. Additionally, the width of roads can also indicate their classification as national, main, secondary, or other types of roads.